Texas A&M edges out Auburn 16-10. If you didn't watch a single snap of this game, I don't blame you, because this was a hard game to sit through and watch. It was a bunch of bad offense and a lot of dirty laundry being thrown on the field. And I have nothing against watching a good old school defensive slugfest like what we got week 1 with Texas versus Ohio State. But I hate watching games that have nonstop penalties, man. It's annoying, and it makes you disengage from the game when there's a whistle being blown after every play and there's constant stoppages because there's always a penalty happening. And if you look at this game from a box score standpoint only, you're probably having a hard time figuring out how Texas A&M outgained Auburn 414 yards to 155, and yet only won by 6 points. Most teams who have this big of a discrepancy in total yardage win in blowout fashion. Texas A&M went up against an Auburn defense that was absolutely carrying this team. Auburn's offense, I guess they missed the bus for this game, and they were at the hotel room when it was being played because the defense was the offense. You know what they say, sometimes the best offense is a great defense, and Auburn's defense outscored Auburn's offense, which is an indictment on Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze has to go. He's an offensive-minded coach, and yet the worst part of Auburn's team is the offense. His play calling on Auburn's final possession and their loss to Texas A&M should have gotten him left on the tarmac after this game. He shouldn't have been able to fly back to Auburn with how bad his play calling was on Auburn's final possession. Auburn had no success throwing the football all game long. Jackson Arnold couldn't hit an open receiver to save his life, and the offensive line couldn't keep the brother upright long enough to find the open receiver. It seemed like he only had a nanosecond back there before a guy was clotheslining him and dragging him to the dirt. So I found it really stupid how Hugh Freeze, last 2 plays of this A&M game, 3rd and 1 pass play, despite the run game being the strength of your offense. Then on 4th and 1, you think he would be wise enough to finally run the football, but no, he tries to throw it again, and what happened? It's the same thing that was happening all afternoon. Jackson Arnold was running for his life and got sacked. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And that's exactly what Hugh Freeze did, and Auburn's lost to Texas A&M. There is no excuse for not calling a single run play on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 consecutively, especially with how atrocious your passing attack is with one of the better receiving corps in all of college football. People don't realize how good Cam Coleman is. Cam Coleman is just as good as Jeremiah Smith, but you don't know that because Auburn's offense never shows you how good Cam Coleman is, because the quarterbacks that they have can never give him the freaking ball, and Hugh Freeze doesn't know how to move him around and get creative enough to find ways to get him the ball so he can make plays. Cam Coleman, I hope he transfers after this season from Auburn, because they are wasting his talents. He is one of the best receivers in this sport. Top 3, top 5, however you want to rank him, he's up there, but Auburn has him buried behind all of the other big name guys like Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith, because their offense and quarterback play is just not good enough to find ways to get him involved. Auburn's defense, they get a 72-yard pick six to put Auburn back into the game when it looked like it was all but over. And then, you know, Hugh Freeze, he finally figures out that Jeremiah Cobb is a really good running back. He's averaging 4.7 yards per carry, and yet only gets 6 touches. You know, Auburn, despite how bad the offensive line was and the passing game was, the ground game was still there. Texas A&M, the only difference between their offense and yours is that they could actually run the football, and they were able to win on early downs. They were able to win on first and second down and be in more third and manageable situations. And even then, they were in a bunch of third and long situations, but they were more in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8 situations. You were in 3rd and forever a bunch of occasions. With all the false start penalties you had, your left tackle had 2 of them. You said you was going to bench them, and you still had them out there committing false starts, costing you the game. Until Auburn is able to find a good head coach, there's no reason to watch a single snap of this game, of this team this year, because Auburn is probably going to be a below 500 team this year. Excuse me. I don't know how many games Auburn can win with this kind of style of play. Your offense is dependent upon your quarterback's ability to run the football. And if you can't run the football, then everybody knows that your passing attack is not going to be good enough for you to rely upon, because Jackson Arnold just isn't a consistent passer right now. Now, maybe he becomes that next year. But this year, though, Auburn's defense is going to have more performances like the one they had this afternoon if Auburn's even going to be able to be above 500, because that ground game is really good once you get Jackson Arnold going. But everybody knows that's the key to Auburn's offense. And yes, you got to be able to run the ball when people know you want to run the football, but you also got to be able to keep the defense guessing. And Texas A&M wasn't guessing with Auburn's play calling, because they knew that early in the game they struggled running the football. They abandoned it. So on first and second down, they ended up getting behind the chains, and that's why they couldn't convert on third down that often, if any at all. I think they only got 1 third down conversion, which I think came in the second half, late in the third quarter. And their offensive line gave up 9 sacks against OU last week. So you thought that the game plan would have been a little bit more run-centric than what it was. And Hugh Freeze, I guess he saw something completely different than what me and you saw, because he felt like the offense was still good enough for him to continue to keep dialing up passing plays, and none of them were working. So Auburn loses 10-16 on the road to Texas A&M. A&M improves to 4-0 on the season, and this is Auburn's second straight loss.